Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Pert.
Good morning, Earthlings. Good. How you doing today? Good. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Welcome to First Contact Radio. To talk about all these things I'm talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Poet. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. He'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. He'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause it's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have arrived.
To demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand
First
the
Contact
truth.
Radio. We have arrived. First Contact. Hey, good morning, Earthlings. The microphone wasn't on, now it is. How about that? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Glad you could be here today. Alright, today we are at 27th right here. 27th, the day before Thanksgiving here in America. We are moving between two signs, between Virgo and the next sign, Libra, that as far as the moon sign goes, and at 4 p.m. Pacific time is when that transition takes place. So we're just finishing out the last couple hours of this Virgo moon. Again, remember, Virgo is the helper. Virgo is the hermit that provides service. Virgo is the one who goes away in solitude in order to find the answer and then comes back with the answer, holding the lantern up high for all to see what was learned. Okay, so we're making that transition. We're now going into Libra. Libra is an air sign. Air sign is words and actions. Libra is all about karmic balance. Okay, so we're going into this place of karmic balance later today, where we're going to be over the next couple of days. The moon phase, or the sun phase, is still the same where it will be, which is in Sagittarius. So we're going to be dealing with fire sign and air signs as we get into the course of this evening and tomorrow. Just remember fire and air, how they work together. We want them to operate nicely. We don't want the fire to blow out the air, or we don't want the air to smother out the fire. We want the ideas and the words and actions to complement each other nicely. Moving right along to our moon phase, we're 32% of the way full, making our way down to the new moon. Mayan Oracle, we're at the second day of this wave spell of the hand, the blue hand of accomplishment. Second one today. Today is called the star, so today would be the lunar star guided by the sun. The phrase for today is I polarize in order to beautify, stabilizing art. I seal the store of elegance with the lunar tone of challenge. I am guided by the power of universal fire. Space weather. Our solar wind is 276.4 kilometers per second. Planetary K-index is still quiet. Our coronal holes are pretty much smoothed over. We have this little one up here at the top kind of moving away. Little one here looks like it's trying to do something, but nothing major significant. Our M-class and X-class flares are both down to 1%, so all is quiet at the moment. And then, of course, we have our geomagnetic storm activity, which is quiet as well. Alright, let's go over to the Suspicious Observers Report for today. Here we go.
Good morning, folks. This is SOHO Lasco C3. Set your eyes on the bottom right of the frames about 4 o'clock. We've got Bruce Gary, Tony Phillips, and Matthew Knight all agreeing Comet ISON is not dead. Forget the experts, though. You don't need them today. You can watch on the fleet. ISON has entered the SOHO Lasco C3 beautifully. Much better than it looked on stereos. Remember, tomorrow at 12:15 p.m. Eastern Time, right at lunch, we're pre-gaming Thanksgiving with a Google Plus Hangout to watch ISON's Perihelion live on SDO together. We'll start with a recap of everything we know up till now, and then we'll watch it slingshot around the sun. Folks, the latest GOES-R instrument is cleared for installation. Can't believe we still have 2 years to wait for that beauty to fly to the heavens. Good article out of New Zealand here discussing why the earthquakes felt there feel more powerful than usual. Top recommendation for locals. Last 48 hours of the eastern US here. Now let's slow that down and pull the Goes Media movie with color background. It's 19 degrees Fahrenheit outside my door and there's 3 inches of snow on the ground, but Columbus, Ohio appears to have gotten lucky compared to my former hometown of Pittsburgh. One thing about a large snowstorm blanketing the skies over this large of an area is that if a major fireball, say, were to come, nobody would be able to see it. That appears to be what happened. Flashes illuminated the clouds, booms could be heard for hundreds of miles, and in some places locals ran outside fearing earthquakes. We're going to keep it with the RSOE and head to South Africa. We have a mass bird die-off, but this time we know the cause. It's an intentional poisoning and beheading. Some locals apparently believe the brains of those birds bring good fortune, trying not to throw up. Buoy in event mode near South Bali, Indonesia, the most active volcanoes in the world. Not a major jolt, but right next to the now missing buoy which starred in disturbance under the ocean. If you are unfamiliar, I'd Google that today. Top weather watch does remain for the Indian coastlines. Lahar approaches with a full tank of gas. Solar wind elevations identified last night trailed off nicely and the stability is absolute in our magnetic field. Then we come to the X-ray flux. No solar flaring. And if you just look at the departing groups, you can't expect that to change. But look at the last 36 hours of the southeastern quadrant of the Earth-facing disk. Remember east and west are flipped on the sun? Look at these developing groups. I see separated but morphing magnetics that beg to start mixing today. And that's even before you come to the limb and see the beasts cresting now. Deer classifiers at NOAA, the double positive lead indicates that's twin sister spots cresting together, not one big one. The northern departing coronal hole strengthened while the equatorial bit appears much weaker. This occurred as the larger magnetic fields began to close up even more tightly above that opening. With that said, Middle East moderate uptick is all we've seen for quakes since the field closed after the 7-pointer down south. Shots of our star and the weather to close. Eyes open. No fear, it's 6:30 a.m. Eastern Time and that's the news. Be safe, everyone.
Alright. Continuing on. So, today we are going to go on to this next piece here. This is Paul Begley. Paul Begley talking about ISON, what's going to happen with it. It's interesting analysis he has here, so let's check it out.
Are you serious? Are you serious? NBC News is finally responding. How many times have I had to say, where did they go? Where is Brian Williams? In January, on January 13, 2013, Brian Williams broke into his NBC nightly news broadcast with this 23-second warning. And we hadn't heard from him again until yesterday. Let me tell you what he did. Here's what he said on January the 13th, 2013 about Comet ISON.
We'll remind you as the date gets closer so you can stock up on snacks and beverages, but a comet is coming. A big and brilliant comet arriving in November 2013. It could potentially be 15 times brighter than the moon and visible in broad daylight over the U.S. We will be your Comet Network, and we'll keep you updated.
Are you serious? Now, that was huge. Stock up on your snacks and beverages. Get ready. We're going to keep you guys updated. Comet ISON is going to approach the sun Thanksgiving Day. Okay? It may blow sky high. It may be a huge comet. We've got conflicting reports out of NASA. NASA's telling us one thing. NASA says the comet's 2.1 miles wide. But Fox News says the comet's only a half a mile wide. Yet Jesse Waltman of BP Earthwatch says it's approximately 12 miles wide based on his calculations. And they're all looking at the same instruments. What? Now, NBC told us back in January of this year that it was a big, brilliant, bright comet. And then they went dead quiet. And I've been testing them and saying, where are you at? Where are you at? Well, they must have been listening over there at NBC, because this is what Brian Williams said yesterday. Finally, we heard from Brian Williams. 39 seconds this time, but at least we heard from him. Brian Williams, NBC News.
Eyes at NASA are on the skies because of a comet coming in for its final turn around the sun. And if it survives that part of the trip, we are all in for a spectacular and multi-week-long show in the night sky. It is the Comet ISON, and astronomers say it basically can trace its life back to the beginning of time. Already it's visible through telescopes and binoculars. If it survives the slingshot around the sun, it will be visible to the naked eye as a kind of bright but dirty snowball in the pre-dawn sky in the days approaching Christmas. We'll be tracking it, and we will let you know.
Okay, so now finally we hear from Brian Williams. He confirms that the Comet ISON, it dates back to the dawning of time. What that means, Comet ISON was created by God himself. Also, you heard him say if it survives the slingshot around the sun, which is known as the perihelion. Now, we've been learning all about that from Jesse Waltman, who comes on our live show. I have a live show every day from 12 noon to 3 p.m. Eastern. 12 noon to 3 p.m. Eastern. Jesse will be my guest. He's been on the last 2 weeks, updating us and informing us on what's going on with Comet ISON. He will be my guest again tomorrow on the eve of ISON. We will get our last glimpse of it just before it goes into the abyss of the multi-trillion degrees worth of heat raging from the surface of the sun, as the comet only will be 730,000 miles from this sun's surface. If it survives the slingshot or the perihelion around the sun, it will light up the sky and become the brightest star or sign in the sky since the Star of Bethlehem. And you'll be able to see it throughout the entire month of December. Imagine that. But first, let me tell you exactly what, again, Brian Williams' comment, and then let's hear what Jesse of BP Earthwatch has to say about it. Brian?
Eyes at NASA are on the skies because of a comet coming in for its final turn around the sun. And if it survives that part of the trip, we are all in for a spectacular and multi-week-long show in the night sky. It is the Comet ISON, and astronomers say it basically can trace its life back to the beginning of time. Already it's visible through telescopes and binoculars. If it survives the slingshot around the sun, it will be visible to the naked eye as a kind of bright but dirty snowball in the pre-dawn sky in the days approaching Christmas. We'll be tracking it, and we will let you know.
Now, we haven't had an event like this in the sky, not this bright. I know about the Hale-Bopp comet. I know about Halley's comet, but they're not even close to what this comet will show us if it survives the perihelion around the sun. Well, Jesse of BP Earthwatch has been analyzing this thing for just about a year. And he says to me, Paul, it's a much bigger comet than NASA's telling us, and I doubt it's going to survive. It will be a miracle, he says, if it survives. But then again, it is in the hand of God. And its timing is miraculous. It gets its closest point to the sun, folks, on Thanksgiving Day, which happens to be also the first day of Hanukkah. The last time we had Hanukkah and Thanksgiving Day on the same day, 1888. And when will it happen again? 79,043 years from today. In other words, this is a once in a millennium. No, once in an absolute creation event. And the next day, as it circles the sun, is November 29th. That is the anniversary of Israel becoming a state on November 29th, 1947, just 6 months before it became a nation. God has set the timing up perfect. It will also take us through December, right up until Christmas. And the last time we had an event this big, well, there was a star in the east that told us a baby was born in the back of a barn in Bethlehem. Something biblical is going on with this event. Now, will it explode? And if the Comet ISON explodes at the sun, where do those millions of pieces of the comet go? And does the earth survive? Well, I don't know. I don't have a clue. I just know what the scripture tells us. There is an event mentioned in the Bible in Revelation that speaks very close to what could happen if ISON explodes. Let me go right now, though, to Jesse from BP Earthwatch, and he's very frustrated and begins to talk directly to the scientist about how they've lied to the people. Here we go. Here's Jesse Waltman, BP Earthwatch.
Whatever they call themselves. And guys, I just hope that they're just playing us down dumb, and they're not dumb, because they have the money that we pay for all these instruments that we can barely pick through the information, and they're looking at it right now with the highest tech cameras in the world. But they feed the sheeple a little. But they've got a couple of us play weak when we're not. I know what you know, Carl Battens. Quit playing us. The Bible says that a watchman that does not warn the people, their blood is on his hands. If he warns them, and they heed not, their blood is on their own hand, Carl.
So Jesse is speaking right to Carl, which is a very high-level NASA scientist who has been playing off on this comet, saying it's not that big, it's not that big a deal. But if it's not that big a deal, why did NBC tell us that it was big and brilliant and it could light up the Earth's sky? And then why have NASA gone quiet? Why hasn't NASA showed us what the rover on Mars saw when it turned toward Comet ISON as it raced by Mars? Why haven't they ever showed us the picture of Comet ISON or its 14 million mile long tail full of asteroids and meteorites that we're going to have to pass through that tail once it shoots around the sun? That long tail, the Earth will have to pass through it during the 7 days of passage, which is going to be January 12th through the 19th. Why doesn't NASA even want to tell you what's in that tail? What is it they know that they don't want to share? Well, we know it's a lot bigger comet than what NASA's telling us, and we also know it is in a dangerous, precarious situation as it meets its destiny at the sun during the perihelion. Now, I know what the Bible says, that there will be an event. I don't know if it's this one. I don't know. But I know we're going to have an event that this situation could cause. And here's what it says. In Revelation chapter 8, the Bible says in verse 8, "And the second angel sounded, and as it were a great mountain, burning with fire, was cast into the sea. And the third part of the sea became blood. And the third part of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died. And the third part of the ships were destroyed. And the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp. And it fell upon the third part of the rivers, and upon the fountains of waters. And the name of the star is called Wormwood. And the third part of the waters became wormwood, and many men died of the waters because they were made bitter."
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, how's that? There we go. Today, I have 5 stories. Story number 1 comes to us from our favorite Volcano. This is UFO caught on telescope live cam on November 15th. I'm sorry, this wasn't a volcano. This was the one over the moon. This is a great video of a black UFO going across the moon. I see that the person in the video zoomed in, but I believe this caused distortion in the photo and lost its original shape. which is probably due to the Earth's atmosphere via the speed of light. I found many UFOs long ago on the moon's surface that were flat black in color, like this one, and six-sided. Alright, let's take a look here. Be able to see the actual screen capture, but nope, it's not there anymore. How about here? There we go. There's our object in question. You can see it here. And again, it's down here. I'll move this. It's the same object, just shown in different places. Alright, so that's story number 1. Story number 2 now takes us to the volcano. Okay, this is Popocatépetl. This was on the 25th. There's up here in question. We've seen lots of things coming in and out of this volcano. Cylinders, orbs. Volcano Popocatépetl has been watched by UFO researchers for years. One of the methods of watching it is the live internet cams. Several exist for this volcano. I myself has used this cam and caught UFOs there several times and posted 2 videos. What I'm trying to say is that dozens of videos exist of UFOs at this volcano. For UFOs coming and going from the mouth, there can be only one explanation. They have a hidden entrance in the volcano that leads them to their underground base. That would be a pretty good analysis. Pretty good analysis, unless they just like going into volcanoes to keep warm. But I'm guessing that there's more of a reason. There's our object up top here. This is all from the webcam. And the object is now not there. Alright, and if you follow the links, you can get to this webcam yourself and you can just watch. Leave it on all day long. Watch the volcano, see if you see anything flying in and out. Alright, moving along from here. Next story, we go to Australia. This was on the 26th. This is a new video of a fast walker flying across the sky above Melbourne. Alright. Guy says something tells him this isn't birds. Not birds. Okay, what have we got then? There you go. Those are 2 fast things there. They certainly don't look like any kind of birds to me. Could be Superman, faster than a speeding bullet. It's pretty fast. That's why they call them Fastwalkers. Alright, moving on from here. One more shot. Moving on from here, we go over to Oregon. This was on the 26th, the same day as that other sighting. Here we have, this is from Who Took My Mojo. And this is just a formation of lights. It's going to look like this ultimately. This is the shot taken away. It's a 3-minute, 22-second video. And as it gets closer, it takes more of this. You can actually see there's at least 3 lights, possibly a 4th one back here. And then whatever is out there doing the blinking, is that attached to it or another object? Here's something else down here. This could be the other object in it. Alright, that seems to be the origin of the blinking. Well, this one here with definitely 4 lights. Okay, moving on to our one last. And this is evidence of UFO encounters throughout the history of mankind. From prehistoric cave paintings to medieval frescoes to Renaissance art that depicts strange objects in the sky. Now this is a whole documentary here. It's 44 minutes in length. A lot of great information through here. Where you see different images. It says, well, technically a UFO refers to any unidentified flying object. In modern popular culture, the term UFO has generally become synonymous with alien spacecraft. However, the term ETV, extraterrestrial vehicle, is sometimes used to separate this explanation of UFOs from totally earthbound explanations. Proponents argue that because the objects appear to be technological and not natural phenomena, and are alleged to display flight characteristics or have shapes seemingly unknown to conventional technology, conclusion is that they must not be from Earth. Though UFO sightings have occurred throughout recorded history, modern interest in them dates from World War II, further fueled by the late 40s by Kenneth Arnold's report of a close encounter which led to coming of the term flying saucer and the Roswell UFO incident. Since then, governments have investigated UFO reports, often from a military perspective, and UFO researchers have investigated, written about, and created organizations devoted to the subject. One such investigation, the UK's Project Congen, made public in 2006, attributed unaccountable UFO sightings to a hitherto unknown and scientifically unexplained plasma field. It also concluded that Russia, former Soviet republics, and Chinese authorities had made a coordinated effort to understand the UFO phenomena, and the military organizations, particularly in Russia, had done considerably more work than is evident from the open sources on military applications stemming from the UFO research. The report also notes that several aircraft have been destroyed and at least 4 pilots have been killed by chasing UFOs. Well, it goes on to say the UFOs are sometimes an element of conspiracy theories in which governments are alleged to intentionally cover up the existence of the aliens by moving physical evidence of their presence or by collaborating with extraterrestrial beings. There are many versions of the story. Some are exclusive, while others overlap with other conspiracy theories. In the U.S., an opinion poll conducted in 1997 suggested that 80% of Americans believe the U.S. government was withholding such information. Imagine where we're at right now. If it was in 1997, 80%, we're up there pretty high with all the movies and all the information that's available. People understand that there's something going on. People are ready to experience what's next. And that's our UFO news. So what's next here is a break, and I'll be right back with some more. Stay tuned.
What if our government was responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you really want to know? These are big questions, but these questions deserve answers. It's time to demand the truth.
People shouldn't be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of
9/11 was an inside job. Kennedy was killed by the CIA. Jimmy Carter saw a UFO. Answers to secrets you need to know. So wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. The evidence is overwhelming. Step past your fear, take a look. Illuminati lies keep growing, but they're illusion from your eyes. And wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. What would our founding fathers say if they were alive today? Must be turning in their graves. Redcoats are coming, big brothers watching. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. What if I land into if I see, and I on the opposite shore will be ready to ride and spread the alarm through every Middlesex village and farm. Whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. When a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Patriots arise. It's time to demand the truth.
All right. Alright, I am back. So, let's continue on things here. First thing I want to show you is, well, we're going to go to Obamacare, because here's another thing in here you need to know about what is in there, because the lies continue on. Alright, here's a piece. It says, hidden source code in Obamacare stripping away all of your privacy. Listen to this.
Right there. Now that's unfortunately that blue highlighted thing is hard to read, so I'm going to read it again. This is the part of the sign up that is hidden. The applicant does not see this, but it is in the source code. And what that blue highlighted area that's been circled in red says is, you have no reasonable expectation of privacy regarding any communication or data transiting or stored on this information system. Now, Ms. Campbell and Mr. Slavitt, y'all both said that y'all were HIPAA compliant. How in the world can this be HIPAA compliant? Which HIPAA is designed to protect the patient's privacy, and this explicitly says, in order to continue, you have to accept this condition that you have no privacy or no reasonable expectation of privacy.
So, sir, that would be the decision made by CMS.
So you're not, this is news to you?
You're
You're the main prime contractor. You've never seen this before?
Sir, that's not we are the prime, one of the prime contractors, yes.
Have you seen this before? Were you aware this was in the source code?
This requirement is...
Are you aware this was in the source code, yes or no?
Yes.
You were aware, okay. Do you think that's HIPAA compliant? How can that be? You know it's not HIPAA compliant. Admit it. You're under oath.
Sir, that is CMS's decision to make what...
I asked if you thought that. You just told Mrs. Blackburn that it was HIPAA compliant. You know that's not HIPAA compliant. You admit that you knew it was in there. It may be their decision to hide it, but you're the company, not you personally, but your company is the company that put this together. We're telling every American, including all my friends on the Democrat side, and they're huge privacy advocates. Diane DeGette is co-chairman of the Privacy Caucus with me. But you're telling every American, if you sign up for this or even attempt to, you have no reasonable expectation of privacy. That is a direct contradiction to HIPAA, and you know it. Yes or no?
Once again, CMS has us comply to a set of rules and regulations that they've established under our contract. And that is a CMS call.
Okay, as I was saying, at this point in time, I'm sure many of you want to reach through the screen and grab this woman and shake her because of the way in which she's lying. See, basically what they did was they took the code and they put a piece of code in there that said that your information, you had no expectation of privacy. They put that in the section there where it was part of the code, but it was not part of the code that was going to be shown to the public, because you can have code that's running in the background that is just code that's for the programming side, and that's exactly what it was. The people going to the site never see what that code is about. They just know that once they push the buttons, it goes through, and because that code was in there, and even though they didn't see it, by them going through and pushing the buttons and hitting the enter, they're actually saying that they agree with that provision, and that they agree that all of their privacy is, they have no expectations, and that's wrong. It's a horrible situation, and yet we got these people that are lying about this, obviously lying about it, and yet they continue to remain in power. And yet it's another thing that we find out about old Obamacare and the problems going on. So, speaking of Obama, while we're on that, I made up a list here, and I wanted to show you this list. This list right here, let me go ahead and bring this up here. This is a list I was just making in regards to all of the different, what I call our coincidences surrounding Obama and this whole Antichrist thing. Now, normally if we have one coincidence, but 2, 3, 4, just here's a list, and you can check them out. But we got one, the Jesus comment, Luke chapter 10, verse 18, Satan as Barack Obama, that translation. Then I believe it's Mark 13, Jesus uses the phrase when talking about the end times, the abomination of desolation. Strange phrase to be used considering we have a President Obama. In the Bible code, if we look up Obama's name, he comes up and he's in the most significant passage about the Antichrist. You had the winning lottery numbers in Illinois during the course of his, there we go, when he was elected, 666. The Secret Service called him the Renegade, which was one of the names of the Antichrist. He also travels in the Beast, which is another name. During his inaugural address, he recreated the seat of Satan from Greece, put it in Denver. He stood in front of Germany. I forget what the gate's called, but the evil gate that is the poster child gate for the Nazi program. Well, he's talked there. He's used biblical passages, and we've heard him saying things that obviously mock God. God's been removed from his speeches. We hear he doesn't use the phrase God. Every now and then he does, but mostly he doesn't. Remember, he made a comment about his war on Christmas. Then we've got military being restricted from Christian services or conversations under penalty of some sort for doing such behavior. Then we've got the Egypt declaring him to be a Muslim terrorist. We got his half-brother is a terrorist. His father, who he may or may not be, since we don't know that, but the ones we know of connected to his father all have shady backgrounds. His Indonesian adoption records list him as being a Muslim. By his own words, he's been mentored by terrorist Bill Ayers. We've heard recently about this alleged nuclear bomb plot that was foiled by the CIA, alleged to Obama. And then, of course, this one here, Nostradamus had a quatrain called the Black Hand quatrain. Now, we could say that figuratively or literally. Maybe he wasn't talking literally, but maybe he was. Maybe the Black Hand refers to a person of black color, so maybe he's directly relating this. As you can see, that is a list of 18, 19 things right there. I'm sure that with a little bit of effort, we could think of a lot more. Those are way too many coincidences for anybody to dismiss. Any investigator worth his salt would look at this list and say, oh, there's 19 things on this list to investigate. I think there's something here. Nobody could look at that list and say that there's 19 things and just dismiss them. And anybody who does, I don't think they're fully paying attention. I mean, look at this list one more day. 19 things right here. Okay, that's quite a list. So if Obama is not the Antichrist, he certainly is playing the part and wanting to be connected or recognized as such. Don't know why, but we've got a lot of interesting things going on these days, and this certainly is one of those. All right, let's turn our attention back over to ISON now. As you know, the government's corrupt. I can go on and on about that, right? You can go on and on. We don't need to have daily confirmations of corrupt government. Just the very existence. You know, one thing that I do want to add in regards to government, I think one thing that would do us better as a society is if we went back and understood the basic definitions. You see, America was never created to be a democracy. The word democracy is not in the United States Constitution. Democracy is mob rule. Our United States of America was created to be a republic. A republic is a rule by law. The laws protect people from the democratic style of mob rule. Every time that we turn on the television and we hear a news reporter or a politician or somebody talk about democracy, we need to know that they are either misinformed as an American citizen or they are lying to the American people, because this was not set up as a democracy. We need to hammer this point home and make this a very strong point that we all understand. We're supposed to be a republic. There should not be one American, not one red-blooded American who says that they are a good American, a strong-willed, faithful American. Not one American should say that and then say that we're a democracy, because if that's the case, then you're not informed. We are a republic, the Republic of the United States of America. That's it. So when you hear someone say democracy, please correct them. Please correct them and let them know that we have never been a democracy. We were never set up to be a democracy. The word democracy does not exist in the United States Constitution. We are a republic. And if we pass that and we make sure that every single American that is out there understands that we are a republic, if we completely understand this, then we won't accept their lies when they talk about democracy. As a matter of fact, we'll know that once they start talking about democracy, they are talking about lies. Just a point that I think that we all need to pay attention to. It's one of those little things that bothers me every time I hear someone use democracy. It's like they don't know what they're talking about. A republic. Ben Franklin was asked, what do we have? A republic, ma'am, if we can keep it. So we're a republic. That's what we need to remember. We need to remind every single American we are a republic, not a democracy. Never have been. That's what they want to push things towards. That's what they want to convince you that we have, but we're a republic. Okay, now let's go back to ISON here. First thing I want to show you is this piece here. This was ISON in the stereo ahead. You can see it's going to be coming in right over here. We go. So we see ISON moving through. Question is it going to go into the sun and disappear? Or is it going to reappear and be all okay? We'll find out. Now, you know what? I just realized I was not even showing you the right thing there. So let me go and see if I can bring this last thing back here. I just closed. Alright, here we go. This is ISON. Alright, here it is right here. You can see it coming in. So this is one of the latest things. This is from the 22nd, 23rd. You can see the date down here moving, 24th. So it's getting closer and closer by the day. Will it survive perihelion or not? We will know soon enough. Now this site here, here's one place where you can watch Comet ISON. This is the November 28th, the SDO, Solar Dynamics Observatory spacecraft, will off-point at 3 different positions at Comet ISON as it moves through the perihelion. This website will display near real-time images and movies of the sun-grazing comet, and they should begin appearing sometime between 12:45 p.m. and 1 p.m. Eastern Time. That's tomorrow. Okay, and then you can get all these links here you can go to follow out what's going on. Alright, so that's just one place, but wait, there's more. There's a lot more, a lot of attention being paid to this ISON. Here's a site called Comet ISON 2013.co.uk, and here's all kind of facts about ISON. Images, the speed, when it was discovered. I mean, we've talked about all of these things. So a lot more information. And then, of course, you've got your 3D model here. If you click on this link, and you got this really nice interactive model where you can see what's going on with ISON. It's going to zip through here. And you can see where it's at. This is what it's going through right now, this phase, where it's going to zip through and spin around. Okay, and either it's going to dive into the sun or it's going to continue on. That's the big question, what will happen? And of course, here's another one. This is called the NASA Comet ISON Observing Campaign, which is isoncampaign.org. Okay. Says they're less than 2 weeks away from Comet ISON reaching perihelion. And if we're honest, we're still none the wiser as to how the situation may play out. Well, now we're only less than 24 hours away, and we still aren't certain how it's going to play out. So questions are still out there. And then here we have another one. This is everything you need to know about Comet ISON. I got all kind of nice images here. See it coming in. There it is. A big old object, isn't it? Look at that. Very good size. And the size of it, well, we've heard so many different speculations on how large this thing is that we are not quite certain at this point in time. Okay, and we have one last piece. This is a NASA piece. This one is interesting because NASA keeps changing the timeline. You heard first all the different timelines, right? That there was the 10,000 year timeline, and then there was the 400,000 year timeline, and then the timeline became a 500,000 year timeline. And now, if we go down here, we see, look at this timeline now, at least 1,000,000 years ago. This comet began its journey from the Oort cloud, a swath of icy objects that orbit far beyond Neptune. This is the Comet ISON's first trip through the solar system. Okay, so this has changed quite a bit. Now it's 1,000,000. So this started off as 10,000 years ago. Then it went to 400,000. Then it was 518,000. And now it's 1,000,000. That's kind of weird, isn't it? That they keep changing it. They keep learning more about it. So they really don't know. So it went from being a comet that they said has been around multiple times to a comet that's the first time coming around. Basically, NASA doesn't know. They're just spitballing, guessing at this point in time. Okay? NASA, never a straight answer. Never a straight answer from those guys. Alright, so we will find out what's going to happen tomorrow with Comet ISON. What do you think is going to happen? I think it's going to pass through, no problem. And I think it's going to be nice and bright. And during the month of December, we're going to have a nice bright star, like the Star of Bethlehem. I think there's some significance to that and all the change we're going through. Because remember, we have coming up, we have the beginning of December where we've had Alex Collier said that on the 3rd that Earth was going to be 5-dimensional. Dolores Cannon and her daughter have been talking about Earth being a 5th-dimensional planet in December. We've got those who have recalibrated the Mayan calendar to say that that conclusion comes on the 16th of December. All of these happening now. So with these comets coming around and the ideas that maybe Nibiru is up there, it's going to be an interesting time. Interesting time indeed. Alright, let's jump over here to this story here. This is about spiritual truths. Top 10 spiritual truths that we weren't taught in schools. Probably a lot of spiritual truths we weren't taught in schools. Alright, this is by Michelle Walling. What would our world be like today if these top 10 spiritual truths were taught in our schools, in the mainstream media, in our history books? How can we change the system to introduce these topics to future generations? What will the world be like after successfully recognizing these spiritual truths? Well, here they are. 1, that we are spiritual beings on a human journey. Before we came down to this physical body, we planned out the point in time that we would begin to awaken who and what we are. The womb of our mother was a tunnel of forgetting, and we knew the challenge of remembering would be tough. The biggest risk we took was never remembering. We were never disconnected from our source. However, the connection was stretched very long and thin to reach this part of the universe in density. Our challenge is to strengthen this connection and to grow our pillar of light in remembrance and recognition of who we truly are. Second spiritual truth, our souls never die. We just go from one form to the other. Energy dies. Which brings us to the next part, that everything is energy. And so everything is energy. Energy just keeps going on. It doesn't die. That's the important part that we need to be aware of. And then from that, we go down here to our thoughts create reality. We've heard this over and over and over again. from all sorts of books of prophecy, of magic, of visualization, of meditation. Our thoughts create things. And by focusing on our thoughts, we can learn to create what we want. And sometimes we create things in our life that we don't want because we're focusing on those. So our thoughts do create our reality. 5, we are the ones we've been waiting for. You may have heard this phrase over and over, but after we go through all of our searchings for everything in the universe, it finally comes back to us finding ourselves. And that's a very important thing for all of us to do, to find out who we are and what we are about. Most of us incarnated here before. That's why we're back here, because we're here to relearn some lessons. Something that we learned in the past that we need to relearn again. We gather together with people that we've been around before. That's why there's some synchronicity and this feeling of acquaintance with others that we meet, even though it's the first time. We all travel in packs from lifetime to lifetime. It says we are never alone. That's another spiritual truth, that there's guides around us, there's dimensional realities all around us. And as we come to understand that, we realize that we've always got help all over us, all around us. All right, time is an illusion. Definitely is. Down here on Earth, we look at time in one particular way according to the watch or according to our calendar. But as we look at the Mayan calendar, we see there's another way of looking at time. As we look at space and the reality of the extraterrestrial phenomena, we see there's other ways of looking at time. So time is just an illusion, and we have to look past it to understand something bigger than what time is. As Jose Arguelles says with the Mayan Oracle, time is art. And ascension does not involve going anywhere. It's just a state of being. We focus our attention and we rise inside. We rise in consciousness. 10, love is all there is, and that's the most important thing, that throughout this universe, love is the glue that holds everything together. And so as we practice this love, as we send it out. So these are all great spiritual truths. Just imagine if going to school, if all of these things were taught, what the world would be like. It'd be a nice world, because we'd all be on the same page of treating each other in a proper way, because we'd understand these very basics of life and the energies of life and so on. All right, that brings us to our message for today, and today's message comes to us from Yeshua. Here we go.
Franzipeda, Yeshua, keep nourishing your beautiful landscape of love and heart-centered purpose.
November 20th, 2013.
Yeshua.
Greetings, dear ones. I greet you from an entirely different perspective today. For you are approaching a more complete merging with your higher selves and with your monad, and so the vibration from which I communicate is higher and more conducive to your new level of understanding. And the perspective is beautiful, as you can see. You have reached an entirely new playing field, and so it is taking you a little adjustment to integrate and accommodate this new perspective. And it is entirely your own doing, for your intent has been for the most part to accept these loving intense energies of late and absorb them and allow them to build your light bodies further. And you cannot but see things through a new lens, dear ones, an entirely different landscape for many of you. Do not be concerned if you do not physically feel a lot different, however many of you would be hard-pressed to deny that you are feeling and seeing differently. Let go of the resistance and the doubt and you shall see more clearly. And so, dear ones, I beseech you to constantly reach for your higher perspective that is becoming more evident to you. Choose to see things from that perspective. You will find it will become easier to let go of the fears and limitations that once held you back, for your soul is wanting to soar higher and will not be denied. Allow this process with the grace and acceptance and knowing that you have never lost. Let it become your true mode of operation from now on. The time is here to discard and leave behind your old ways of analyzing with your ego and with your old frameworks of beliefs. Feel with your heart and welcome your new perspective based solely on your hearts. Coming from there all the time now is becoming much more available to you. These energies of late guarantee it. You don't need to fight it or to call anything according to your old perspective, for you have graduated into a new level. Look around and get acquainted. Now is the time to connect always with your higher self first. Allow it to merge. Allow all the fractals of your essence to merge. Feel yourself merging with your monad or soul family. Take it in stride that you are one. The pieces of information available to you now are limitless. It merely requires you to open to them and take care to not color them or analyze them with your separate self, with your ego. That way of participating in life is going by the wayside as you integrate all of you into this higher perspective you are being welcomed into. And so it goes that you greet your new selves with honor and love always, accepting and knowing that the divine flame within you is building to an ever-increasing crescendo and taking over and encompassing all aspects of you, as all aspects come home to your divine center. The process has been beautiful to watch as we observe you coming into your own, so to speak, of discovering all new and desired possibilities as real and imminent as you pass through the door of your higher awareness. Let yourselves become that expansion and wholeness that is beckoning you. The old ways of duality are becoming distant as if looking through a rear-view mirror as you move forward, and now you see ahead of you an entirely new landscape vibrating with a newness and shimmer designed by love and grace, a landscape that was and is being designed by you in your infinite glory of creative abilities. Notice, dear ones, that those thoughts and goals of yesteryear may beckon from time to time, as a weed may continue to push through the ground after you have decided to pull it. But it does not have to be so that you allow it to take over your new pristine landscape. For you are stronger and more capable of averting your gaze and intent to keep nourishing your beautiful landscape of love and heart-centered purpose. Stand strong now in your new awakened reality. The more you lend your attention and your energy to it, the more it is grounded and manifested. You are the divine creators and the divine landscape architects of your new lives and your new world. And wherever your mission is leading you will be adorned with beautiful flowers of immense love and vibrant color, awaiting you to focus on them and love them and decide how to use them in your new life. Send only love to the weeds in your garden, dear ones, and do not focus on them. Focus instead on the beautiful bounty of immense possibilities you are growing to fruition, those beautiful flowers of love and compassion and prosperity and peace and harmony. You are so close, dear ones. You are doing it. Please keep your faith and please keep your attention on your goals for a lighter, brighter world for all to enjoy and flourish in. That is your divine birthright and no one can take that away from you. You are all my precious comrades in peace and love, my beautiful brothers and sisters. Together we are building a beautiful world, one glorious step at a time. Know this and nourish yourselves within this knowing, for it is yours to have forever. I am forever your loving brother, Yeshua.
Alright, very nice message of change that is taking place with all of us. Let's listen, let's take a look at what the angel message for today is. I am helping you heal yourself and others. You have healing abilities amongst your many gifts. Awesome, awesome. And last but not least, let's do our meditation for today. So go ahead and close your eyes. Take a deep breath. And exhale. Take another deep breath. And exhale again. Alright, I want you to imagine that you are looking out over a garden. And the garden represents you, your consciousness and your unconsciousness. And as you look over the garden and you see all of the different things that are planted in the garden, you see weeds that you weren't aware of. So imagine yourself going around and picking the weeds. Very careful not to disturb all the things that are growing around it. And as you go through the garden and you pull up all of the weeds, you find that the other things growing in the garden can grow much easier without all the weeds choking them. So, get the garden tended properly. Everything's growing. And you feel different because you realize that this tending to this garden is what we do to our consciousness each and every day. We tend to our thoughts, the things that are growing in our consciousness, and we remove the things that are no longer serving us. the weeds of yesteryear that periodically need to be removed. And as we go through and we remove the things from life that no longer serve us, we find ourselves moving through life smoother and easier with each and every step. Smoother and easier because we've let go of the baggage that has been holding us. We become lighter, free from all of those heavy doubts and fears and negativity. Take another deep breath and imagine filling your body with all kind of light and love as you inhale. Feel it just revolving and circling through your body, and then exhale. And letting out any residual doubts, negativities, tensions. Take another deep breath. Hold it and exhale. And as you do, just let your body relax. And as we bring our conscious mind back to the present moment, let's let our subconscious mind continue on the journey of just moving through life, sharing love with all those that we meet. And let's bring our conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale. And open your eyes. That's it, my friends. That's our show for today. Thank you very much for being here. I'll be back tomorrow with more news and information. Just keep your eyes to the skies. Let's find out what's going to go on with this Comet ISON. You have all the links now, so you can go and you can watch what's taking place, and we'll all find out together. I'll be back tomorrow. Have an awesome day. I'll talk to you soon. Peace. I'm out of here.